रुक चुके हैं नौजवान मगर बेजुबान कर ले अमर के होठ पर मांगे पंछी का
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome to episode 58 of TPR Pod on video on YouTube. We have a special guest today, Sharmeen. Hi, Sharmeen.
Hey, Sharmeen
Hello.
Khan, our friend. She's. Chalo, fuck it, she's Nadir ki fan, and we know her. That's how we know her, but she's also someone else.
We just know 10 people in our lives and the people that they know and they're connected with.
100 people right there.
That's a lot of people. Let's say
That's
this is true. Everyone I know is through someone else I know, and that's like a lot of people. That's everyone I know, but too many people.
What I find really cool about you guys is how so many of your real friends are through Twitter.
Because
That's amazing.
nobody liked us na in real life.
यार नहीं हमें अजीब लोग मिले हमेशा जिंदगी में.
maybe. तो पहले हमने लोगों को अपनी इंग्लिश से हमने बेवकूफ बनाया on Twitter. फिर उनको आहिस्ता ना उनको real life में ले आए. But yeah, Sharmeen, second time on the podcast, first time on video. Thank you for coming. Yes, you're famous. Famous हो गए आप. This one when we were doing the Corona World Tour, तो Sana who's in the Corona World Tour, she's like, हाँ बस मैं आ जाऊँगी. Famous तो होना है. मैंने कहा how many people do you think watch this? These expectations अपनी temper कर ले. Yeah. So Sharmeen, second time, कैसा लग रहा है आपको आप वापस आए? Return guest.
Jay, I am so honored. Thank you so much. Last time, actually, I was really nervous because
you were?
Yeah, it was my first ever podcast ever. And I just remember telling you, acha, ye edit kar dena, acha, ye edit kar dena. And then you didn't edit any of that. So I was really embarrassed when I heard it.
Oh, did I not? Oh, shit.
Yeah. I'm just like, aapne jo karna hai kar le, kya kar le.
So, kya naam hai? Acha, I didn't realize this. But khair, I remember you shared it with people and they were like, you know, काफी senior type log the, and they were like, wow, good job, Sharmeen. इस तरह का. I was like,
मेरी उम्र के लोग थे.
Yeah, no. You're like 2 years younger than Rizwan. And everyone in the world, it doesn't matter how old they are, they're 2 years younger than Rizwan. ये physics तोड़ एक calculation है. खैर, तो Sharmeen, thank you for coming. Let's re-up your intro and talk about why you're here. The last time you were here was a long time ago, episode number 6 of this podcast. Yeah, I think it was 2016 maybe. I think it was
15.
No, it can't be 15 because 15 में तो मैं कर ही नहीं रहा था. It was 2016 because I'd moved to Ireland in 2016 and then started the podcast. I think summer में शायद. So yeah, maybe 17, probably 16. But
it was an anniversary of APS. So.
Yes, so it was. Is that December?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was probably then December 16. Yeah, Sharmeen, what do you do?
Oh, I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm a healer, and I work in disasters, so emergency preparedness and relief, I guess.
When you said that, obviously the first horrible joke that came to my mind was she causes disasters. I work in disasters. बड़े से बड़े जो आपने देखे हैं वो.
Name them. I've been there.
Yeah. So, and you've been doing this for at least since 2016, but probably much longer, right? So, how does one become a clinical psychologist and a healer specializing in disaster-related issues?
Those are 3 different things, actually. A clinical psychologist, I studied a lot, got a few degrees, and got registered, and I practice as a therapist. For healer, that's like something new I've picked up recently. I've done a few courses in theta healing. So now I'm teaching it in Pakistan as soon as this lockdown is over. And disasters, I think shuru mein, it was just um, foolishness, jazba that took me to the earthquake of 2005.
That was your first
And
disaster experience?
yeah, kuch karna hai, bas pahunchna hai, pahuncho, you know. And jazbe ke saath, eventually, I somehow developed a skin and became good at it. So it kept going for a while. So right now, this pandemic is probably the most unique disaster that has ever occurred, at least in known history, of this scale and everything. So it's really interesting कि कहीं जाने की जरूरत नहीं है जो हो रहा है घर बैठ के ही हो रहा है और बहुत हाँ बहुत सीखा जा रहा है कि आप सब्र करें सुकून करें स्टिलनेस के अंदर भी काम हो सकता है.
What a great segue that I didn't need to think of. You linked all the disasters right into the pandemic. But before we talk about it, what, just like going through your resume for the curious listener and viewer, you worked at the earthquake of 2005?
Yes.
Okay,
And 15.
And 15. And APS was 2012?
14.
2014.
December 14.
I have no remembrance of time, recollection. Acha. And anything else that is worth mentioning here?
Uh, the floods of 2010, the floods of
Mm,
2012, the floods of 2011. There were a lot of floods.
there were a
And
lot of floods.
yeah.
But didn't you have there was also the thing, na, that whole association you were working with for flood relief in the Indus, resettling
Yeah.
the Indus, yes.
Well, I'm still a member of the board, and it still is an organization. We have 3 schools that run in different villages in Pakistan that we're running. Uske alawa, we've made over 3,000 houses over the last 10 years. And floods ke alawa, there were also a couple of bomb blasts and terrorist things.
So a long, tragic, incident-filled career where you've tried to help people as best you can. I'm just saying this because uh, being the inquisitive asshole that I am, अगर मैं इस podcast पे आता हूँ ये कौन है शर्मीन हम क्यों सुने इसकी बातें तो it's good to have like a resume in front of a person. So how have you
अगर बोले मुझे email भेजिए मैं CV भेज दूंगी.
नहीं आप send me your CV and I'll put it in the video. Scrolling through. So and also on the list, not on the top but on the list, Nadir ki behan, our friend Nadir. So Nadir ki behan, that's also an achievement. Is it
I mean, he's
not?
famous. That's the only reason that I should be here. He's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, and I guess this is more of another achievement. Khair, so
Yeah, guys, listen to his music. It's awesome. Yeah, support Nadir.
So how have things been in the past? Actually, you're in Karachi. We did this series recently, which will come out. I think I'll have to edit and put it out in a day or two. But where I spoke to a lot of people around the world about this was, I think, all of not this past week, the week before that, the 23rd of March till the 28th. Those days, I spoke to people in Pakistan, in India with Rizwan, in Southeast Asia, Australia, North America, Europe about what their current situation was. उस वक्त लॉकडाउन वगैरह का सीन जो था ना वो जरा नया नया था in the far east, which is China वगैरह, वहाँ तो चलो बहुत पहले से चल रहा है, but in these countries फिर भी नए नए दिन थे, एक हफ्ता भी नहीं हुआ था, इस तरह का सीन था. So I'll ask you a question that I asked them. There were Karachi people उस वक्त भी, वो that was like the Karachi episode was recorded just the day after Sindh had a lockdown. What is your personal current situation? How are you dealing with this as yourself, not as the wider public? How have you been dealing with this?
Okay, so I've been keeping myself busy, working online, all of that. And it is an up and down process, if I'm going to be honest. There are a few things that I think we will be going into later on how to keep sane in such environments, which I have been working on. But obviously, कुछ ऐसे दिन आते हैं कि, for example, किसी ने मुझे परसों कहा था कि this is going to last a year, and that just threw me off. I'm like, नहीं, I cannot be in lockdown for 1 year, and this is not possible. So yeah, ups and downs, and that's me.
How long has it been in Karachi since it's been locked down?
If the 23rd was a Monday, then I think 21st, Friday, Saturday, so शुरू था lockdown.
So it's now it's the 4th of April. So it's like 2 full weeks. 2 weeks and a
In
weekend.
2 weeks. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Weekend.
अच्छा. And Karachi के हालात क्या हैं in terms of बाहर कितना rush है? What's the busyness? How seriously is the lockdown being taken?
It's being taken pretty seriously. So I think last week I got out of the house to do, major grocery shopping. So तब तो सड़कों पे like everything is empty. It's like post-apocalyptic world. But outside the supermarket, parking की जगह नहीं है because people have nothing else to do. So they are getting out, they're standing space only. And after 8 p.m. the other day, I didn't know कि 8 बजे चीजें बंद हो जाती हैं, and I got done from work at 8:30. I went out. It's actually nobody on the
8
street.
बजे
So
चीजें बंद हो
yeah,
जाती हैं?
as in now everything closes at 5. That was I think the first week. जब सब start.
Oh,
it's
this is
5.
part of the lockdown requirements.
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
After 5 p.m. everything is closed. Like not हमारे इलाके में not even a pharmacy was open. Pharmacy भी थोड़ी दूर जाके थी. And looking
Oh,
for a store
wow.
to just buy bread, like मैंने काफी लंबा चक्कर लगाया था, and it was creepy. It
And
was like
were our
you were sad.
gas stations वगैरह
Gas
open?
stations are open, gas station stores are shut.
अच्छा.
Even that, I think maybe now they have shut down. I'm not sure because now there's no need to go out that much anymore.
And were people still panic buying when last you went? Like a week or 10 days into it?
Yeah, so the last time I went was 2 days ago, but that first time I went, it was very interesting that I had a helper in the supermarket. So he kept saying, Baji, ye Dettol, ye sanitizer. And I'm like, हाँ, मुझे जरूरत नहीं है. He's like, आपको sanitizer की जरूरत नहीं है. And then someone else comes and they're like, Dettol के wipes. And he's like, ये सोने के दाम बिक रहे हैं. As in, सोने की अहमियत है, कि not सोने के दाम बिक रहे हैं. So they had a lot of that stuff, and because we already had our sanitizers or anything, he was very surprised that I didn't need that stuff because people are
Yeah.
panic buying, like not toilet
Still.
paper. I think it's smarter panic buying around here.
Okay. Any disruption in services? Like utilities
Services,
वगैरह?
बिजली एक दफा गई, otherwise utilities have been great. The government is being great. I think the way things are being handled. Don't judge me, and I know you might get some negative feedback for what I'm about to say, but I actually had a moment a couple of days ago where I was like, man, God bless Altaf Hussain. Because
नहीं बिल्कुल
because
कोई नेगेटिव
he
फीडबैक
has
हमें मिला इसलिए
trained
हम
us
उनको
for this.
चुप करा देंगे.
हाँ, क्योंकि हमने जो 20 साल एक दहशत में गुजारे हैं ना अपनी जान के लिए, और शहर ऐसे लॉकडाउन होता था,
Yeah.
उसकी वजह से कराची is so prepared for this. I think it's the best place in the world to be for this lockdown right now.
Wow, huh? Acha, I never thought of it that way.
I think just the
Ah,
youngest
yeah.
generation in Karachi maybe doesn't remember this, but if you were like above 10 years old in the 2000 to 2010-ish period, you've experienced like a proper paya jam, shutdown situation, and you're like, हाँ बस ठीक है घर पे बैठे हैं,
Wow.
स्कूल नहीं जा रहे, ऑफिस नहीं जा रहे, क्या करें?
Acha,
Firing हो रही है, like, and you've even driven through that, right? So now even the absence of burning tires is like, oh, so they're really serious about corona.
Yeah.
yeah.
Rizwan, you were saying something?
Yeah,
नहीं नहीं.
अच्छा. खबरदार.
yeah, but anyway, I think कि हर चीज, I mean, everything happens for a reason, and I finally understand why we went through that.
Yeah, I mean, and I think Twitter pe at least, which is my main source of Pakistani news and information, initial days say the Sindh government has been seemingly a step ahead of the overall government in terms of putting lockdown and separation and all that stuff, where people would be criticizing Imran Khan, your abhi wala measure is not going far enough. Sindh government would then just do it. So, loath as we are to be nice to the People's Party, kuch scenes could chal rahe hain. And if it works out for everyone, credit where credit is due.
I think we need to separate the government from the state, and I think the state itself, which is not the elected government, but the permanent people, they are making an effort. They're doing a great job, and I think that should be recognized because systems like NADRA and local NGOs and everything are working in such harmony together. कि लोगों के घर तक राशन पहुंच रहा है
अच्छा
without like I don't need to step out of my house to go and deliver ration in Orangi Town, right? Orangi
oh
Town में जो NGO है वो ही पहुंचाएगी. I just need to like they have this app in place which is really cool. I heard about this
oh
yesterday.
Wow.
कि if you call me and you live in Orangi Town and you need ration, I just put in your name, Shinakti card number and phone number into that app. And Orangi Town में जो भी है वो जाकर आपके घर राशन पहुंचा देगा. And rangers, local government and NGOs are working together on this.
that's great. That's great. And
Yeah.
That's
Telenor
amazing.
launched things
Yeah.
like Easy Paisa वगैरह like decades ago, and I'm sure that's also probably making things easier in terms of you don't have to go and throw money at someone, and like there's e-payments वगैरह का scene भी है. Um,
Mhm.
wow, that's good. That's hopeful. Rizwan, any update from Lahore since we last spoke about this? या तुम घर में ही हो? Which is also fine.
मैं घर में हूँ ब्रो. मैं कल काफ़ी लेट नाइट वैसे मैकडोनल्ड्स गया था.
Okay.
Yeah, like 3 a.m. and it was kind of weird कि मैं generally सुबह सुबह जाता रहा हूँ ड्राइव थ्रू से नाश्ता लेने, but कल मैं पहली दफ़ा अंधेरे में गया था. So I almost missed McDonald's क्योंकि complete darkness, there are no lights on, everything, पूरा सड़क भी अंधेरा है.
Oh, why are the
सब
street
बंद
lights
है.
off?
वो तो that's a Lahore thing, right?
Is it? Is it really?
Bro, लाहौर
AC
में
off
स्ट्रीट
है
लाइट
तो
ऑन
worth it.
जब ऑन होती हैं तो we're like bro क्या हुआ है, कोई वीआईपी आ रहा है क्या क्या सीन
Really?
है?
अच्छा.
या तो या आई स्पॉटेड द ड्राइव थ्रू किसी तरह. मैंने कहा पता नहीं ये बंद है या देन आई सॉ हल्की सी रोशनी खिड़की से आ रही है. सो हाँ, it's pretty empty, man. Nobody's on the streets. थोड़े बहुत लोग like just grabbing grocery and stuff. Yeah, drive through. I saw a Pizza Hut delivery guy though at 3 a.m.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Bechara.
yeah,
Oh, we got tipped
yeah.
super well.
Man, all restaurants and deliveries have shut in Karachi, and I really would like some pizza right now.
I think हमारे घर में आज बन रहा है. Nadir was saying he's going to be making pizza today. So I think Sharmeen, the only option left is बस खुद ही बनाना पड़ेगा. नान के ऊपर बस हम चीज लगा देंगे.
अगर
Or I can
अगर
import my
मैदा है
brother
घर
to the safety of Karachi. हाँ,
हाँ.
आप ऐसे कहते हैं, let's just switch like this thing and now talk about pizza कैसे बनाते हैं. मैदा है.
I mean, if you go on Instagram or something now, there's fucking dueling banana bread recipes, or everyone's making that fucking coffee, and everyone's doing the same three things, but like एक साथ. हम नहीं बना.
Because they're 10 friends, right?
Yeah, the 10 friends. हाँ हाँ ये भी तो है. So how have you, coming back to your profession and the actual halat and gizziousness?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, before we move on, there is a small update in Lahore. That the original lockdown was announced for a week, but now it's extended till 14 April.
Okay.
So at least for now 14 April तक तो सब बंद है. उसके बाद क्या extend होगा वो तब पता चलेगा.
A lot of
Yeah.
discussions on Twitter and WhatsApp वगैरह के पाकिस्तान के case numbers seem to be very low. And I mean, America में we're seeing like लाखों के हिसाब से people infected and हजारों के हिसाब से people dying in Europe, and then Pakistan में ऐसी report आई नहीं थी.
Yeah.
So obviously the initial thought is के छुपा रहे हैं, झूठ बोल रहे हैं. और फिर the second thought is के bro क्या सीन है, हम क्या ढीठ है क्या, हमें नहीं हो सकता. But anyway, so Sharmeen, in
हमारे
light
पास
of all this,
5G की वो नहीं है ना, transmitters.
5G के transmitters नहीं है. We don't have 5G yet, by the way.
No. Magar, it's honestly, it's our emergency preparedness. I would like to really commend the government on the fact that we shut down before it became a problem. People shut down after the problem started.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
America shut down like way after the problem was already there.
Yeah.
But Khair, how are you viewing this in terms of your profession and what you do for a living? this pandemic, the social isolation, the social distancing, separation. Um, what are the things that you are now seeing 2, 3 weeks into it, um, that give you cause for concern and that people should be thinking about?
So it's really interesting. If I can speak about like break it down into 3 or 4 weeks, I think a lot of people will be able to identify with that. What I noticed with the people that I did interact with over the last 3, 4 weeks is that the first week there was a lot of fear. People were coming in with fear कि क्या होगा अच्छा ठीक है मुझे अपनी इतनी टेंशन नहीं जितनी मुझे अपने पेरेंट्स की टेंशन है या
Mm,
मेरे बच्चों की टेंशन है. So there was a lot of fear and paranoia that was across the board.
mm,
And then the second week it was more about um, I don't know, okay, what's next? The guilt and, more underlying feelings that were coming out. There's a lot of regrets coming out of if I die, I regret this or that. And now there's a lot of, and then people went through a period of, okay, we can do this, we can adjust to this, and we are being kept safe. So I think there's a lot of self discovery happening, and these are general themes that I have been picking up with an entire diverse range of clients. So the third week was more of safety and feeling love because, again, the appreciation of what's happening by the government, or on the other hand, anger of not feeling secure enough and blaming others for that lack of security. And
mm,
this week, with the extension of the lockdown till the 14th, something that I already mentioned, I noticed it myself as well. There's a lot of, okay, we've made it this far one day at a time. What's next?
mm. It's
There's a
very
lot
interesting that
of,
you're saying that the emotional and mental themes were split so, visibly between the 3 weeks ke pehle. It's almost like वो stages of grief वाला scene, but it's sort of like उसके अंदर जो acceptance का stage है उसके ही अंदर हमने stages बना दिए हैं कि they're like oh shit, what have I'm worried about, चलो मैं तो ठीक हूँ, what happens to my parents, and then they're like next week you're like shit सारी जिंदगी ज़ाया कर दी, and then now they're like bro yeah we can do this. So why let's just stay on this for a bit. Why do you think these themes came in the way they did and the order that they did?
I think there's a lot of connectedness within people and society right now. We're all hearing the same news. We all have similar groups or access to the same information. So I think generally the collective thought process is very streamlined.
Mm,
So if I show you, for example, the color blue, they can, I mean, I'm not trying to discount humanity in any way, but I'm just trying to say, okay, you can either have a positive or a negative reaction to the color blue, right?
mm,
Which is why या तो गुस्सा आएगा या फिर प्यार आएगा, because those are two extremes. उसके अंदर बीच में, obviously, because every human is different, I have dealt with the entire spectrum of emotions that comes in between. This was a slightly more generalized example, and I think the theme just comes from being accessing the same kind of information
mm. So yeah,
and being
because
very similar circumstances.
because this is a very global and similar experience for just about everyone. We're all
Yeah.
humans, and this is a bimari that's affecting humans. It's affecting the same way with the same areas, and the same people are vulnerable the world over, society over, financial level, सब एक level पे हो रहा है तो okay. So
Like a massive experiment.
it is, yeah. इसके बाद racism खत्म हो जाएगा आप देखिएगा. Because this is a very
Actually,
unifying.
just to cut in on that one, because this is, I think, really important. Racism is surfacing in a very different way right now. I don't know if I'm sure you're aware of this. वो जो 2 हफ्ते पहले, 4 cases आए थे कोरोना के कराची में, and they kind of went viral on social media. 100 लोगों की पार्टी थी फ्रेंड्स बीच पे, सेक्स पार्टी थी and booze पार्टी थी,
होती है
and
वो तो
उसकी
हमें
वजह से
पता है.
कोरोना.
We've all read about this.
The thing is that those
मैं
4
तो अभी
people
अभी भी
were
कर रहा
named.
हूँ like right now.
अच्छा हाँ,
Rizwan is
लाहौर के बीच
in French
में.
Beach.
So the
हाँ.
thing is, those 4 people never went to the beach. There were no 100 people. There were 4 people sitting at home together. One guy got corona. I called his 3 friends up and said, by the way, I tested positive. You guys should test as well. He was asymptomatic.
Mm,
But on social media, उनको इतना discriminate किया था उसके खिलाफ कि that actually became, it's like a different kind of discrimination altogether.
Yeah. एक तो obviously there's all the jokes, the hilarious jokes that we really love about Chinese people and उनकी वजह से हुआ है और ये सब मतलब इतनी बातें कर रहे हैं लोग. It's like people have just found like this unifying way of we're all together against the Chinese. तो वो इस
Yeah.
तरह की vibes आ रही हैं and it's just
And it's almost like an I told you so kind of moment for everyone. कि
yeah
देखा, हम तो पहले से ही बोलते थे ये लोग जो
yeah
कचरा खाते हैं,
yeah
ये लोग तो साफ नहीं रहते, इनमें से तो बदबू आती है. Like I've heard people saying कि यार हमारा मुल्क तो इतना गंदा भी नहीं है, यहाँ कैसे वायरस आ गया. I'm like यार, like
wow. I mean,
telling
Karachi mein, if you're not taking a gate from the plane to the airport, if you galti se step off the stairs, there's a wall of mehak that you hit. हमारा शहर गंदा नहीं. तो पिछले साल ही लोग लड़ रहे थे कराची में कूड़े के ढेर जमा हुए हैं ये वो. Anyway, so
yeah.
another form of discrimination, एक तो चलो चाइनीज ने तो बनाया था ना, वो तो है ही बुरे. ये अलग बात है कि हमारा मुल्क उनकी खैरात पे चल रहा है.
फिर क्लू क्लक्स क्लैन है, डोनाल्ड ट्रंप है, और याजूज माजूज हैं,
Yeah, yeah,
और
yeah.
सिर्फ मेहदी हमें
Oh
वोट
my
पहुंचाने का है.
God,
And
yeah,
also, then on a
yeah,
local level, Pakistan में the initial report came कि ताफ्तान से लोग आ रहे थे, ईरान से वो लोग आ रहे थे,
जी,
ज़ियारत पे गए थे. ईरान में it spread before Pakistan. देखा?
yeah.
शिया लोग गलत, हम तो कह रहे थे ये शिया लोग फैला रहे हैं. This was people saying this shit on Twitter, and then eventually फिर Saudi में भी pilgrims coming from Saudi will be infected him, and it's just fucking everywhere. But
a lot of Mazid Muslim hatred coming up in India during the crisis. Their
yeah कि वो
politicians being
मस्जिदें बंद नहीं कर
pretty,
रहे.
yeah. Their leaders are being pretty open about the hatred now. कि हाँ देखा, like
Yeah.
हमारे most नए cases, like आज सुबह के there was some stat कि 300 नए केसेस हैं, उसमें से 270 कोई तबलीगी हैं. So
Tabligis have dropped the ball. This is not an inherently Muslim issue.
yeah,
Many different groups around the world in varying races and religions or whatever have dropped the ball. Pakistan, maybe especially, Pakistan or India ke Tabligis did fuck things up. The Arab countries locked everything down. बिल्कुल शुरू में, even like Palestine में things were locked down. But हमारी यहाँ मस्जिदें बंद नहीं हो रही. न्यूज़ आ रही है कि पता नहीं औरंगी में मस्जिद बंद करने गए पुलिस वाले, इमाम ने मस्जिद नहीं बंद की, इमाम को पकड़ने गए, आवाम निकल के आ गई पुलिस को कूटने.
yeah,
That sort of shit is and then क्या था 700 तबलीगीज are being searched जो कि रायविंड के इज्तिमा में आए थे, which wasn't cancelled despite everyone saying it, और सबको I think हो गया है. 700 लोग ढूंढ रहे हैं हम. um, yeah, so I mean, obviously, people are using this as a pretext to justify their existing Muslim masail,
yeah.
which is a sad but obviously very human thing. Khair, so in the stages of acceptance and grief that you're seeing, Sharmeen, where are we now? I mean, obviously, you can't go into details about specific patients, but what themes are you seeing now? And during this 3-week period, what impact have you seen of this quarantine and disease, anxiety, and social distancing that maybe we weren't aware of that the human psyche would react in this way?
So right now, I think people are going through more of a phase of disillusionment because
Acha.
it's easy to say, okay, acha, okay, I can sit at home for a week or 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden knowing that there's no end to this kind of brings up its own panic or just confusion, right? And in that confusion, there has been a lot of existentialist crises. What am I doing with my life? There's been a lot of um, feeling trapped or imprisoned
Acha.
because I mean, there are a lot of people who are workaholics and might be working 12 hours a day
Yeah.
and dream about staying at home for a couple of weeks and doing nothing. But the difference is that there's a difference in wanting to do it and being
Yeah.
forced to do it, because that is
Consent.
Yep.
challenging free will.
Consent.
Where,
Yeah, we talked about
हाँ,
this.
and उसके अंदर then I think लोग ज़्यादा फंसे हुए feel करते हैं या imprisoned feel करते हैं, and that is something people are battling with. So it's just about shifting that perspective, and that has actually been very helpful with a lot of people, just shifting that perspective to what if this is just a staycation,
Mm.
you know, and how to work around those feelings.
Okay, okay. Because initially when all the news comes in from governments and authorities कि अच्छा जी हम lockdown कर रहे हैं, तो obviously they also are aware कि people might react in an untoward manner. तो वो ये भी नहीं कहते कि बस हम lockdown कर रहे हैं और हमें नहीं पता कब खुलेगा. तो they sort of try to give you कि अच्छा जी एक हफ्ता 2 हफ्ते फिर आगे जाके extend करते हैं तो उसी हिसाब से. Um, so yeah, so people are sort of now because lockdowns are being extended, लोगों को लग रहा है कि this might, पता नहीं कब खत्म होगा. And now their initial optimism, do you think, is fading?
Yes, and also when the lockdown started, we had started hearing news from China that वहाँ कोरोना खत्म हो गया है. अब एक जो नई स्पेल वहाँ आई है हल्की सी, and वहाँ लॉकडाउन जो खोलना शुरू किए थे और अब नहीं खुल रहा, तो seeing कि वहाँ 3 महीने चल चुका है and अभी तक
Yeah,
चल रहा है,
yeah.
is on a global level that is causing fear कि it's easier to get through a marathon when you're just thinking about the next step instead of thinking कि मैंने 26 किलोमीटर भागना है, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, I understand.
Yeah.
And it does make sense that people will start to stress out. Is there anything unexpected that you would have considered? Because in a way, this is sort of like a prison experiment where people are just
Mm.
put into one place and some might even be in isolation. And there's probably awareness and studies about how that has played out because jails तो हमेशा से हैं. But now that this is being done to the general public, तो उसमें इस तरह की चीज़ें भी होंगी कि हमें क्यों बंद कर दिया, हमारी तो गलती नहीं है, हम तो कुछ करते ही नहीं, and why is this happening to us? इस तरह की scenes I'm sure आए होंगे.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like that just reminded me. कुछ लोग complain करते हैं हमें क्यों बंद कर दिया, कुछ कहते हैं हमें क्यों निकाला.
Yeah.
Confusion.
Ironically, जो
Okay.
कहते हैं हमें क्यों निकाला, वो उनको निकालते हैं कि उनको बंद करते हैं. But खैर.
अगर वो अपनी freedom इतनी enjoy करते हैं कि वो वापस ही नहीं आते. चलें,
Yeah.
अल्लाह उनका भला करे. तो
रिजवान तुम ना हो
uh,
हाँ सर.
हाँ,
मुझे तो
एक देख
मुझे तो पता ही नहीं किस चीज की बात हो रही है. नो आइडिया ब्रो. मैं लाहौर में रहता हूँ.
तुम ज्यादा मत
हम
हंसना.
हम सीधे साधे लोग हैं लाहौर के.
माशाल्लाह.
Yeah. Sorry, Sharmeen. Continue.
Where were we? Were we stuck or outside? Okay. Yeah. So there is. You're absolutely right. Like helplessness aa rahi hai that why is this happening to me? And that is also, I think, a part of like. I mean, the stages I described weren't exactly stages of grieving, but I guess if you do look at it from that perspective,
Yeah.
why did this happen to me? Is a stage that people go through, and I think initially जो खौफ भी बहुत ज़्यादा था, because a lot of people are talking about how this is a good time to sit with ourselves and introspect, right? Because हमारी ज़िंदगियाँ इतनी तेज़ होती हैं that we don't have time to sit with ourselves. So this is
Yeah.
a stage of, okay, fine, I'm here, I'm sitting, and there's a purge of a lot of negative emotions happening, and people are actually getting to know themselves better.
Mm.
So what I have been recommending a lot of people to do in this time is just instead of why is this happening to me, see it as yay, this is happening to me.
Mm.
And it's
Acha.
not always easy to bring that shift around.
Right.
But there are, like, if you want, there are a few ways to go about that to bring this lifestyle change into the forefront.
Mm. And also, but I also think that this sort of positive acceptance is, I mean, क्योंकि हमारा one thing we talk about often on the podcast, चलो मजाक मजाक में, but what we often talk about is because we're all वही 10 लोग हैं और उन 10 लोगों के 10 जानने वाले हैं. What we often talk about is कि we all live in a bubble of our own, and where everyone is of similar or better economic status and mobility and stuff like that. तो ये बहुत सारी बातें I would think हम आपस में तो we can discuss this, but there might be a large section of the population jinke fears hain with like financial stability and that sort of stuff, who really would not be able to think of things this way because they're like, हाँ चलो ठीक है, हम बाहर नहीं जा रहे and we're not facing negativity वगैरह. But 2 हफ्ते हो गए हैं, काम नहीं किया हुआ, 1 महीना हो गया, 2 महीने हो जाएंगे, like people who are living on day-to-day wages के हिसाब से. Um, do you think people are aware of uh, people who are not in that problem? Do you think they're aware that others might be in that problem?
Do you want a personal or professional perspective of this?
Both.
फंसा दिया. अच्छा. Okay, so first, just to answer your question without like any biases, there is a spectrum. This is a global thing. It is hitting everyone, and there are some people who are more secure. But even if you talk about financial security, that is not limited to just one sector of society, because I read yesterday that over 18 million people, or was it this morning, will be unemployed by the end of this in Pakistan. Like 18 million more than right now.
Wow.
Right.
Which is a very huge number, right?
Yeah.
I think it's 1.8 crore or something. So keeping that in mind, and keeping in mind that daily wage earners ke liye kaam ho raha hai. There's also another strata that comes between daily wage earners, like mazdoors and naukri pesha log, which is the white collar professionals like your plumbers or carpenters who have, uh, not even them, like personally what I believe is that ye jo mazdoor hain, anyone who works with their hand, they have a lot of pride in what they do. And they have these like, they're the most physically fit people, and they have a lot of self satisfaction and pride in their work. They don't. Oh.
No, because when you said people who work with their hands, they have pride in their work, it sounds like me. And then you said they're physically fit. I was like, oh no, not that much.
Yeah, I was no, I think they are the fittest individuals. They don't need to
Yeah.
pay
Yeah.
20,000 rupees to go to a gym.
Yeah.
They wake up to it, six pack.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah, yeah.
whoa. So,
that is such a lovely point to make.
Yeah. जिम के पैसे नहीं देने,
Yeah.
मजदूर बन जाओ.
yeah.
Yeah. Make something of yourself.
Yeah, get paid to go to gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
Acha, and despite being like, people who actually इमारतें पूरी construct कर देते हैं, इतना सब कुछ करते हैं, they're
Yeah.
also the minimum wage earners,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
you take
yeah.
that away from them and you start giving them free handouts of ration, you're hitting their self-esteem,
Yeah.
and you're hitting it bad.
Yeah.
And this is a personal perspective. I may be wrong, because like वो जो personal level पे लोग जाकर 10 बैग राशन के दे रहे हैं और 20 मजदूर खड़े हैं, like they also feel like
Yeah,
beggars
yeah,
or whatever,
yeah.
because we
Yeah.
can't sustain something on a national level.
Yeah.
Which is again why I say support the government, even if it's 80% to these people, is better than what we are doing, because we're breaking down our entire system
Mhm.
by taking away a person's autonomy.
Yeah.
And
And
I
also,
think that is where the socioeconomic thing you were talking about comes in, because there are a lot of people who are saying, poor people like maids and drivers, they should be getting ration. No, your maids and drivers are still getting their salaries. So how are they poor all of a sudden
Yeah.
overnight?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, those people are saying this because they're not paying their maids and drivers because वो काम पे नहीं आ रहे. Which is another thing. If you have people working in your house, you should still be paying them if you can afford to pay them. And you probably can, because they don't make a lot of money. But हाँ, ये मजदूरों वाली और राशन वाली बात hitting self-esteem is true, because there was a tweet on Twitter, or कहाँ होगी tweet, but yeah, and obviously, it's hard in this day and age to see if this was like a genuine anecdote, or if someone was just, saying something heart pulling for the retweets. But story or concept ये थी कि किसी को राशन चाहिए था, and someone approached him with ration, and that guy was like, bro, video तो नहीं बनाओगे तुम, because वहाँ because everyone is a social media fame whore. And the nukta, the nichod of the tweet was ke, a lot of people are doing this nice stuff, but they're doing it with publicity, and that's एक तो wrong in itself, intention के हिसाब से, and also the impact on the other is no one wants to be a beggar.
Yep.
And
Yep.
even if they are beggars, they don't want to be seen as beggars. They don't want that to be their thing. So the guy was like, "Yeah, मेरी बेटी school जाती है. She uses her phone. I don't want to see my face on like YouTube." And then she sees कि someone gave me like a handout or इस तरह की बात. Again, we don't know if these stories are true. There is no like journalistic verification,
But it
but
makes sense.
it
Yeah.
makes sense. It fully
Yeah,
makes
Yeah.
sense.
and even if that story wasn't true, it rings true, right? Because
Yeah,
again, it's not just the mazdoors or the, white collar workers. It could be someone in a middle class person जिसने बच्चों की fees pay करनी है, loses his job और राशन के पैसे नहीं है, because middle
yeah,
class does work salary to salary.
yeah.
Now
Yep.
let's say, I'm
Yep.
sorry, no offense, but let's say Rizwan hasn't worked in 3 weeks, right?
Oh, he hasn't.
Which
And
which I haven't. Yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah,
Rizwan is
And
so
very real.
and I'm running out.
yeah, but
I'm
yeah, and it's
um,
scary. It's really scary. And if you go and you say कि मुझे राशन चाहिए, तुम्हें इतना हक है सरकार से पूछने का जितना किसी और को है.
Yeah.
But like
exactly.
that whole like thing comes in कि
But
किसी को
then
पता तो नहीं चलता.
हाँ, like इसमें मुझे ये भी इशू रहा है कि like for example I was half kidding when I talked about मैंने जिन जिन के portraits किए हैं मुझे 1,000 rupees भेजो. The point is I actually fucking need the money.
Yeah.
But because I have like a laptop and like भाई कपड़े
Yeah.
शपड़े हैं, फोन है, पॉडकास्ट करता है, तो यार इसको थोड़ी ज़रूरत है.
Yeah.
But you know, in the next probably 2 or 3 months, real talk, I probably might have to sell a lot of things because I don't have any money.
Mm-hmm.
My first plan is to sell our gear because I don't see we're not expecting any work for the next 4 months, and it's horrible. It's very real. Like for the first time, हमारे लिए where we're like, yeah, रास्ता क्या है? What
Yeah.
what can we do?
Yeah.
So I don't know,
And
man.
people would be
It's
like, business hai, paisa kamate ho. Why isn't like saving kab tak chalegi? You can't live on your savings for like
savings
forever.
किसकी कितनी होती हैं यार, like
Yeah.
मेरी जितनी savings है I can survive the next 2 months, like
Yeah.
survive का मतलब where like I can pay बिजली के bill, I can buy groceries, I can pay my car का installment, and that's it. That's
Yeah.
all the money I have
और
for
अभी
the
तक
next two
एसी
months.
का टाइम नहीं आया है. और
Ishi ka
अभी
time, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, Rizwan is actually lucky because he's out of those people that can survive for 2 months.
Yeah.
yeah,
So many
yeah,
people
yeah,
can't.
yeah,
I
And
think ek
that's the
mahina to
thing.
ho gaya na, Rizwan?
yeah. एक महीना हो गया है, and now I don't know, man,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen
Huh.
क्योंकि uh,
It's
So
real.
another really cool thing that's happening is that because of this, people are also getting creative in ways to earn money.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So
But then again, it's about accessibility too, right? Like I can probably think of some online ways of making money, which I already am, which is very tiny money, but it's gonna accumulate or शायद कुछ बन जाए. But how many people can do that? वही
Yeah.
बात है कि
Yeah.
what about photography workshops?
Yeah.
हाँ,
Everyone's
yeah,
people have suggested this.
a lot of people have suggested that to me. I guess
Another
it's
thing also
about
that
time.
we're seeing is okay, on Twitter, and a lot of people Twitter famous people, when they got Twitter famous, they got into like creative kind of jobs where they would be like writers or they would be contributors to some sort of stuff. But all of these things are based on budgets for marketing,
Yeah,
budget for sales, etc. And just as the दुनिया की economy fuck हो रही है, the first thing to go is your marketing budget, sales budget. तो बहुत से लोगों की जॉब खत्म हो गई है. And they're like, और कोई उम्मीद नहीं है कि पता नहीं कब काम आएगा, क्या सीन होगा. And also as a result, we've also started to see uh, a shift in people's understanding where the term essential workers has come up, which is the people who
yeah,
work in your groceries and your pharmacies. Obviously, medical system ki to ab everyone's realized how important the whole medical system is, in a way that I think on a global level, this understanding was like maybe 100 years ago. Um, but and people have realized कि हाँ, like finance jobs and shit चाहिए, सब जरूरी होता है, and but like they all earn tons of money and they have glamorous lifestyles. But what is the real contribution when shit goes down? What will keep you alive, keep you fed, and keep you happy? It's not going to be a fucking stockbroker on Wall Street. Important as that job is, मैं खुद finance में काम करता हूँ. But like that, do you think that people that ties into what you were saying, where people have started to prioritize things in their life and their understanding, and sort of start to understand in a way they didn't before what really matters and what is really important.
I think that the last 20, 30 years have been a massive shift in social, I don't know, social everything, right? Globalization. With the advent of the internet and life speeding up, people haven't had time for self-reflection or to understand कि हाँ हम भाग रहे हैं मगर हम जा किधर रहे हैं.
Yeah.
So I think we've finally taken a pit stop to sit down, and a lot of people don't understand what that pit stop is because they were born running,
Mm.
right? मगर we're finally taking a stop to sit down and reflect कि अच्छा हम कहाँ से आ रहे हैं कहाँ जा रहे हैं,
Yeah.
just to understand our lives better and what it means to be alive in this day and age.
Do you think
हाँ
this
And
is...
नहीं about हाँ
Go on, Rizwan.
नहीं about that where you guys like Sharmeen, you mentioned guilt wala scene. I've been feeling that too related to this. Okay, for example, I was just looking at all the sneakers that I have, and I'm like, bro, kya scene hai? I can't even step out of the house anymore,
Uh-huh.
and like I've been buying objects to fill the void inside, as they say, or I don't know, it amounts to nothing in the end. So I have been reflecting too, KR. Maybe if or when we do come out of this, I'm gonna be a changed person for sure. Like I'm thinking of having a much more simpler life
Mhm.
that focuses on experiences maybe or pata nahi.
And tying into that, Sharmeen, do you think these changes that people are feeling now? One thing I've been wondering about is because a lot of people say कि बस अब इसके बाद जो है ना बस दुनिया जो है वो बदल जाएगी, and the world we come in will be very different from the world we went into. But human beings being who they are, how long do you think it'll take if this is going to happen? Do you think people will just, things will start to settle down, or ek do mahine mein everyone's going to be back on that same bullshit before as they were before? Or do you really think that this might have lasting change?
Um, I don't think anyone is really qualified to answer that question,
It's a very
which is
weird
why there's
question to
so
ask.
much,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much supposition or forecasting. I mean, everyone definitely knows कि दुनिया बदल रही है. Like Rizwan said, कुछ लोगों में simplicity आ रही है, कुछ लोगों में वो. मगर I think that is something that I'm really excited to see what happens is this massive anthropological project. What I can tell you is that from the past, right? I mean, we're going to like a very simple example. अमेरिका में भी हुआ था prohibition. पाकिस्तान में 70s में prohibition हुई थी, ठीक है? Now,
Yeah.
people have two kinds of responses just looking at the Pakistani population to alcohol. Three. One is a normal person who can have a drink once in a while and go home, right? But the two extremes, which are most of the population, are या तो अस्तगफिरुल्लाह मेरे सामने मत लाओ मैं जहन्नम में जाऊंगा, ठीक है? Or which might be guilt that I came across a bottle once I laid
Yeah.
eyes on it.
Yeah.
And or the other extreme example कि जब तक बोतल खत्म नहीं होती और जब तक मैं pass out नहीं होता तो घर नहीं जाना.
And everyone against
Right?
this is an uneducated simpleton.
Yes,
Hmm.
and all of the other feelings
Yeah.
that come with that or perspectives. So what I'm trying to say is that people can, I mean, moderation come hoti hai ऐसी situations mein, right? So when we get out, there are a lot of people who are like, man, I can't wait to go and do this. And but that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, right? Now, again, that's something that I have been speaking to people about, that make a list of everything that you want to do once this is over. Because if you have a list, तो वो जो एक होता है ना बस मैं जाकर ये करूंगी,
Mm.
that is out of the system, and you can actually like spend time looking at that list and say, okay, obviously I'm not going to take the first flight out to Antarctica, but I can, maybe go to Tariq Road and whatever, right?
And maybe a list of things that they would not do, things that they used to do, and
Instead of
maybe...
not do, how about make a list of stuff that they've always wanted to do in their life? मगर कभी वक्त नहीं था, तो
Mm.
अभी वक्त है.
No,
हाँ
like
नहीं this is
bring about changes, like they see mistakes that they used to make and didn't even realize कि, it's like a collective ignorance of some level कि हमें तो कभी इस बात की कदर ही नहीं थी. That sort of thing. Yeah, Rizwan, sorry, you were saying?
Honey, that's a very interesting thing to talk about. How it varies even एक घर में. Like I have been talking to Palvasha about this. कि you know I want to change my ways now. If we ever come out of this, मुझे बहुत सी चीज़ें अब नहीं करनी है. And I just want to be very simple. And Palvasha was like, yeah. On the other hand, जैसा लग रहा है, अगर सब सही हो जाता है, fuck everything, bro. Let's just do everything कि
Yeah,
कुछ पता नहीं कि अगले दिन आँख भी ना खुले. So
yeah,
let's just get everything out of the way.
yeah.
तो I don't know. पता नहीं.
वैसे रिजवान आपके लिए गुड न्यूज़ ये है there's a forecast of a lot of spontaneous weddings once this is over. So you will be in business.
Yeah. And also a lot of divorces. So those people will get remarried. तो वो भी फिर ना तुम्हें hire
Yeah.
कर.
A lot, so many divorces happening right now and so many, reconnections with exes. There are memes on this kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shareen, we have questions that we thought we would get into. Some of them we might have discussed, but is there anything that you thought you wanted to discuss and specifically mention before we go in there?
Yeah. Do you just want me to summarize and just how much time do we have? Are we done?
No, there is no limit. 4 घंटे की recording
Okay.
allowed
So,
है.
so I actually want to streamline a few things. So अभी जो हम lists discuss कर रहे थे ना, so let's say that we can divide it into 4 lists क्योंकि these are little activities people can do at home, right? एक
Okay.
ऐसी अगर वो लिस्ट बनाए कि अगर कभी मेरे पास जिंदगी में वक्त था, हम इतना भी पुट ऑफ करते हैं कि ये जब टाइम होगा करेंगे, ये जब टाइम होगा करेंगे. अभी बैठ के लिस्ट बनाए कि क्या चीजें थी एंड कितना हम कर सकते हैं घर पे बैठ के. Write that novel. That's something that can be done at home. Why put it off anymore, right?
Mm.
Then, if you make a list of the stuff that you don't want to do anymore, also make a list of stuff that you would want to do instead, because the mind does not respond well to no.
Mm,
So, replace it with something positive.
right.
And then, obviously, make a list of all of the things you want to do the day you get out, because that will help you streamline that jazba as well. And it won't be coming from a place of impulsiveness, it'll be coming out of a place of planning. So, that's one thing. दूसरी चीज हैव अ स्केड्यूल इन प्लेस. अब क्या हो रहा है, काफी लोग शाम के 5 बजे उठ रहे हैं एंड are up all night and stuff like that, Netflix and chill. So after 3 weeks, वहां से भी एक existentialist crisis आ जाती है of what am I doing in my life. If you keep a certain time of the day to wake up, get some sunshine in. I know some people live in very small apartments with very big families, so it might not be easy. शायद बालकनी ना हो, मगर अगर थोड़ा नीचे नीचे जैसे कंपाउंड में ही थोड़ा सा धूप खा लें, fresh air ले लें. These things make a very major difference. Work out. Now, just because gyms are shut, a lot of people are like, जब gym खुलेगा, we'll go back. But our bodies are not made to sit all day. And when we're working, we get some kind of movement in. That's not happening right now. So doing a 45-minute workout every day really helps release a lot of negative thoughts as well, because our mind and body is connected. And it boosts our immunity, which actually, hey, it makes us immune to corona.
Yeah, this is a
And
psychotic thing that I'm going to mention, but I've been walking in my house. My house is a small one-bedroom apartment, but I've been walking in my living room से kitchen and kitchen से वापस for 2 hours every day. And yeah, and I'm doing like at least 10,000 steps a day. रात के 10 बजे से लेके till midnight, and I've got some random podcast on which I'm not paying attention to. But I realize now that you're saying this, okay, apart from the mobility thing, it's sort of turning into like this meditative aspect too, where I'm just walking upper niche for like 2 hours till it hits midnight, just making sure I'm getting 10,000 steps. Background noise is the podcast, and I'm just thinking about whatever. So I think that's insane that I'm doing this. But also a moderate version of this might be helpful for for people just finding alone. हम तो खैर
for
इत्तेफाक है कि
for
it's a
me.
one, yeah, कि it's like a one bedroom apartment उसमें 2 लोग रहते हैं, तो my wife goes away into the other room, goes away into ये पीछे जो कमरा and I'm just here. But yeah, which might not be possible for everyone else, but it is real. Khair. Yeah. Do you have more points?
just a lot of people don't know what it means to work out at home, or they ask, Acha, what would you recommend? So yoga is good. High intensity, I would say that at least 20 minutes of cardio every day. And cardio का मतलब है कि दिल धड़कना चाहिए, सांस ऐसे आ रहा है जैसे मौत आ रही है और
Yeah,
पसीने छूट रहे हैं.
yeah.
ठीक है, बहुत जरूरी है क्योंकि कार्डियो का भी मतलब काफी लोग पूछते हैं क्या होता है.
Yeah, there's a great in that line. There's a great channel on YouTube called the Body Coach, who has all these high intensity workouts, which he does with you. So you just need to put it on and just do what he's doing. And you know he's like super encouraging, and uski khud bhi phat rahi hoti hai karte hue. So it's not like you know a perfect specimen is doing these exercises that I could never do.
I'm
He's
watching
काफी
them.
yeah. Body Coach TV. It's great. It's great, and he's doing more of those now. Abhi to और मशहूर हो गया. He's on like CNN and shit in this lockdown because he's just
Yeah.
doing these videos on and on. Schools में भी कर रहा है, सब कुछ कर रहा है. So that's a great. He has like tons of 20-minute workout videos, and very encouraging. And timer उसके पास चल रहा है, so you don't need to worry about the timing and all of that. You just need to do it as best you can, as much as you can. Um, and that's a good channel if you're looking for high intensity workouts to do at home without any equipment.
Okay.
Yeah, बस मैं कर रही है बहुत ज़्यादा. So yeah, okay. And anything further, Sharmeen?
No, schedules. Like even if you put meal times on your schedules,
Ah,
and
that's
no
interesting
cake.
that you bring this
Yeah.
up because in the Corona World Tour thing, the first thing we spoke to some people from Karachi and one person there, she said, ki, you know, she's just had made a schedule because वो भी worked at an office, sent home, work from home, and she's like, मैंने सब लिख दिया है अपने schedule में, like wake up, have breakfast, all of that, मतलब everything, brush your teeth, all of that, because she's like, अगर छोड़ दिया तो one thing slips, then two things slip, and then it all just becomes like sludge.
अच्छा वो थोड़ा सा ज्यादा रिजिड है. अब मैं थोड़ा सा if I can make it more flexible, इंसान जो होता है ना, the reason we know when breakfast, lunch and dinner time is because our parents teach us, and then we go to school and we learn that there's a 40-minute period where we're learning what focusing on one subject. So what that does is it disciplines our minds to know that this is our attention span and this is how we work. So having a schedule, if you take a break every 40 minutes, when you're at an office with 20 people around you, those breaks happen naturally because you start a conversation or you go pick up a cup of tea or coffee. And a lot of people are working more hours since they're working from home because there's no transition, or
Yeah,
fewer hours
yeah,
because they're sleeping till late, or they have to cook and clean as well, which they're not used to doing on a normal basis, or they have kids. So it's about finding that balance in your schedule, and if it's plus or minus 15, 20 minutes, don't be hard on yourself as long as you know what's happening after this task is finished.
mm,
Even if you're going to watch a movie tonight, put it on your schedule.
yeah. And I think before we move on to the question, one thing that we should do in the lists is to make a list of all the people who we didn't value as much for the work they did in society and in our lives, and you know, just make sure that you know, once all of this is over, um, we give them the value and respect or appreciation that they need. ठीक है जी. So I sent you some of the
Why?
questions. Huh.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. Why, once this is over? Because I just want to
Because some
differentiate
people
between
you might
social
not see,
isolation.
Abhi, na?
Yeah, social and physical isolation में फर्क है. So there's someone who's important to you, who you do feel that you have not given that credit to in your life. Call them up, speak to them, reconnect with old friends. This is the best time in your life to do that because you have so much time on your hands.
Yeah. Yes, Rizwan, you were saying something?
नहीं, I'm gonna take a 2-minute break. तुम्हें questions अभी शुरू करने हैं या
We'll take a break. Okay, we'll take a break. Rizwan bathroom जा रहा है. And we're back from the cut. So Rizwan is back. Rizwan, हाथ धोए थे आपने? अच्छा, तो
हाँ
question
जी.
time. So all we have a couple. Well, most
how
of the things
many
we've discussed.
how many questions did we get, Ali?
Oh, we did. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fine.
one was all like already discussed. Generally, they have the same themes,
Yeah.
but having them in point form makes the discussion easier as compared to me remembering. Khair, so I'll just read it out to you and just stop me if you need to. This person obviously anonymous. My concern is being a person who has a very active and schedule-based life before the lockdown makes me worry about what if this never ends or goes back to normal. Also, to maintain my mental balance, I have to be out of the house because I just can't be in the house and keep myself mentally stable. So, this situation has started to trigger my anxiety to a point where you think maybe this is what our life is now. How can we stop triggering our anxiety and keep ourselves calm? I don't fear being alone or anything. I just don't want to be at home. How does someone deal with this in a pandemic situation that is happening? So, a few questions in there. Um, Active schedule based life, you're used to a schedule, that schedule is now out of the window. So how do you deal with that? And also you're worried about what if this never ends. And then also, if you usually have a very active lifestyle where you're outside of the house, ab ghar mein band hai, you needed that escape and now it's not there, so you're getting anxious. How do you fix that? um yeah, so those are the main two questions from this.
Okay. So first of all, I like to start with the concept of home. When someone says, I don't want to be home, right? Home is something that you build for yourself. I mean, if this person has a very active lifestyle where they, let's assume, are workaholics, they've been working all of those years and earning all of that money to make their home comfortable. So take it as a time where you get to sit down and enjoy what you have built over all of those years. That's your little empire.
That is also a part, but there's also people who perhaps maybe live with family or live like in a busy, large household. So they need that escape where they're like, Acha, I'm just getting out of all of this for a while. And now that's not going anywhere.
So it's
So,
also about, let's assume someone lives in a joint family or, with a lot of people around. It's about asserting that space, finding a part of the house that is yours. Another thing I recommend for people who work from home is to have a separate space where they do their meetings or their office work, and a space where they do their chilling, which is not the bedroom. Keep the bedroom for sleeping because that also adds just different environments. We need different stimulation, right? Even if it's a single bedroom apartment, there are different angles or chairs you can sit in.
mm,
Okay, this is
Hmm.
my work chair, this is my movie chair, and this is my meeting chair. That makes a very major difference. Uske
mm,
alawa, yeah, so these boundaries really help. Iske alawa, so something else you said was feeling that what if this is never going to end? So
yeah,
that is called catastrophizing, like jumping to like the end already. But something I think we did mention earlier was taking it one day at a time. And I know it can be hard. I understand that some of these things are easier said than done, but just remaining in the moment, reminding ourselves that, okay, right now, I have food, right now, I have this to do, does help center us. And that is where the workout comes in. Because when we have too much energy in our body, it goes into our mind and we start thinking too much. Those thoughts may turn negative. And then when that energy comes back into our body, because our mind is like, okay, too much, I can't handle this, that's what causes anxiety. So when we're working out, that takes away one aspect of the extra energy. But the second aspect can be dealt with writing. If you can just old fashioned paper pencil, take 20 to 30 minutes every day where there is no technology, no phones, no music, no TV, and just sit with your thoughts and just listen to what they're saying. And even if they're screaming at you, or even if they're like, Acha, pata nahi kya likhna hai, acha, pata nahi why I'm doing this, whatever it is, just sit down and write about it, even if it's one word in 30 minutes, because you're still spending 30 minutes with yourself. Imagine if you're 20, 25, and in the last 20, 25 years, you've had a friend you haven't spoken to. So the first time the two of you in a room together, there will be silence or awkwardness. And build on that, because in a few days you'll get to a point where, you'll start, even if it's hey, pass the salt, you start talking to each other. So it's about building that relationship with yourself. And when you're comfortable with yourself, that really helps the anxiety because you make yourself feel more comfortable.
mm,
Meditation also really helps. There are a lot of apps for that. There's a lot of online meditation available. And finally, if these things will work, they do work empirically speaking. However, if someone feels that this is not enough, I would highly recommend that there are a lot of apps. There are a lot of call numbers. There are a lot of people who are doing this for free these days. There's a lot of corona mental health happening. So call someone, talk to someone. If you have been seeing a therapist, I'm sure they switched to online stuff. Get in touch with them because staying at home does not mean that you stop doing what you were doing for your mental health before.
Hmm. Also, I think just on the writing part, it's best to be low tech or no tech. But if you're living in a joint family situation with traditionalist parents who might not appreciate privacy boundaries as much as you understand them, you do it on your phone. Google Docs is private,
Yeah,
and you can just write down notes on your phone. रिजवान तुम इतना
yeah.
कम हिल रहे हो कि मुझे लग रहा है कि तुम्हारी वीडियो फ्रीज हो
You guys so gay.
गई. It's like
नहीं.
that scene in Endgame where Thor is like asleep. People are like, "Is he dead?"
यार,
What
I'm
about the?
actually I'm actually gonna try some of this too because man, yeah, it's a tough fucking spot to be in,
Huh.
honestly.
And what about
Yes, Sharmeen.
what about
Sharmeen,
the?
account number भेजो.
Sir, आपके free, but please recommend me and anyone else listening to this. Guys, I charge, but I'm good.
What about the bit where you can't leave your house? Is there any way? I mean, a few of these things are like just because of the physical nature of the situation, a few things have to be more, I would say, accepted rather than tried to be defeated. Because if you can't leave the house and you used to leave the house, now that part is on hold for now. And that's, I guess, that would be maybe a better way of thinking of it as being on hold rather than it's finished forever or अब तो बस पता नहीं कब जाना होगा. Like अभी कल नहीं जा रहे, अगले हफ्ते नहीं जा रहे. There's a bit of a gap. Um, the same thing, the same way where governments put like a 2 week thing instead of saying हम बंद कर रहे हैं till it's over. You're like अच्छा
अगले
अभी हम 2
साल.
हफ्ते. हाँ. You're like अच्छा अभी हम 2 हफ्ते तो नहीं जा रहे बाहर.
So putting things on hold also is like it's building up anticipation and pressure.
Okay.
Instead, okay, so the mind does not understand no. So if you say I cannot go out, your mind is hearing I can go out or it wants to go out. So defiance or rebelliousness comes in from there. And then people come up with creative ways to leave the house, like groceries lani hai. And groceries can, I bought Nutella 2 days ago. I don't need Nutella, but the world is coming to an end. I need Nutella.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thing is that when I say come to terms with it, it's about falling in love with what you call home.
Hmm.
Even if that is कि आपकी जो personal space है joint family में वो एक बिस्तर ही है, right? Appreciating कि अच्छा ये मेरी अलमारी, ये मेरे कपड़े हैं, ये मेरा घर है, and accepting where you are, क्योंकि दो तरीके से लिया जा सकता है कोई भी चीज. हम स्कूल जाते हैं, it can be either यार हम काम फंस गए, or it can be I love learning, right? हम काम पे
Yeah.
होते हैं यार क्यों सुबह उठ के फिर काम पे जाना है, क्या मजाक है, या उसी चीज को एक नजरिए से देख सकें that I love what I do.
Hmm.
And that is a difference in everything that we do. So I understand that being made to do something that nobody wants to do sucks, and I don't like it, you don't like it, we both speak to each other and we're reinforcing it, right? Because I'm like, yeah, I feel so stuck, and you're like, yeah man, same. So if we both feel stuck and your 10 friends and my 10 friends feel stuck, it's a collective feeling of being stuck.
Yeah.
But if we start encouraging and helping each other, calling each other up and saying, man, it's not bad. I can see you right now. Like seeing the two of you is making me so happy today. You know,
वो
seeing
तो
other human
हसीन चेहरे अब क्या करें.
yeah, plus Ali, when you message me, like I'm always like, they're so serious, your messages. I'm like, okay, fine,
Hmm.
take it. But then like when I see your face, it's so nice and happy. And Rizwan to always makes me happy. So seriously, Zoom calls and WhatsApp calls, Skype calls, all of these things, we have technology which, if this happened 100 years ago, we would not have. Use it to your advantage,
Yeah.
connect with people, uh,
Yeah.
talk to others, and rekindle those relationships, not exes, but rekindle those relationships with your friends that you haven't had
Access
time
to,
with.
access to. खैर है
Sure,
बहुत.
if that's what you want, be good for it. But don't blame me if things go south later. That is on you. Okay? Responsibility for your decisions.
Especially if your ex is about to get married or something. मतलब bro,
Just be like,
पीछे पड़ जाओ.
hey,
Speaking of getting married, people are getting married on Zoom now.
What?
Wow.
That's in the US वगैरह, like you know, जहाँ शादी दो लोगों में हो सकती है without 500 people. But
यहाँ
also,
पे निकाह हो जाता है ना?
huh?
यहाँ पाकिस्तान में फोन पे निकाह हो जाता है, एक
Yeah,
ट्रेंड
yeah,
हुआ था
Skype.
90s।
तो हमेशा से हमारे
मेरे मेरे
traditions
एक
हैं.
दोस्त ने 2010 में स्काइप पे निकाह किया था.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. 2011, when I moved to Abu Dhabi, I had like my orientation in the company, and one guy had to leave early because he had to get to someone's house क्योंकि वहां से उसका Skype पे निकाह होने वाला था. But also the thing about people have got creative ways of leaving the house when we were doing again the Corona World Tour coming soon. The if it's not already out,
It will
the
be. This is out.
hopefully. No, this is coming out on Monday. This is on a fixed schedule. Uh, but there was a guy in India, Avinash, a big supporter of Rizwan's and the podcast. He was like, I'm only going out because India में भी full lockdown हो गया था Mumbai में, financial capital of India.
Yeah, they
So
said that twice.
It's like
uh,
Karachi to Pakistan.
which is
Exactly,
what Rizwan said.
exactly.
So he was like, yeah, बस grocery जाना is like, you know, an event कि, you know, we're going out और बस ये हमने शहर भी देख लिया,
अच्छा,
हमको
हाँ,
गाँव.
नहीं, इससे इससे मुझे एक और चीज याद आई. Somebody tweeted today this about her dad. So her dad, uh, कल was a Friday, right? So he wanted to go for Friday prayer. मान नहीं रहे थे कि नहीं मैंने
Yeah,
जाना है. अच्छा,
yeah.
so, जब वो मस्जिद पहुंचे तो वहाँ पुलिस वाले थे. पुलिस वालों ने बोला भाई कहाँ. तो
हाँ,
उसके बाप को समझ
बस
नहीं आया
मस्जिद
क्या
बंद
बोले. उसने कहा मैं आपसे पूछने आया था आपने लंच किया है?
है. अब घर
पुलिस
पे
ने
लंच बन
कहा
रहा
नहीं. तो फिर बाप घर आया, घर पे लंच बना.
Aw, that's really sweet though, in its own way. You know,
है.
he did his good
Yeah.
deed. And that is a very good excuse. I mean, Magar, then you need to use those excuses to your advantage as well. मैं आपको एक पर्सनल मिसाल देती हूँ जो सब देख सकते हैं. अब इतने दिनों बाद मैं किसी से बात करने लगी थी जो मेरे क्लाइंट्स नहीं थे, तो मैंने मेकअप लगाया, मैंने अच्छे कपड़े पहने, and I dressed
Oh,
up. So I made an event out of it, right? I was really excited that
Yeah,
yeah.
I get to dress up, not because of you guys. I mean, you're amazing, but
yeah.
because I got to do this for myself.
Yeah.
अभी रिजवान 1.5 घंटा पहले मुझसे पूछ रहा था कि मैं बनियान में आ जाऊं. मैंने कहा नो नो तैयार हो.
Yeah, shirt पहनो. हाँ,
Yeah,
because you know, like बाकी 10 लोग देखें ना देखें, ये मैंने
yeah,
अपने लिए किया. And
Yeah.
अपने लिए छोटे छोटे बहुत लोग होते हैं जो समझते हैं कि अगर दुनिया नहीं देख रही तो पजामों में रहते हैं या दुनिया नहीं देख रही तो क्या शेव क्यों करें. But it's about, don't you want to look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, you know what, I look nice today. And that's what
this
love comes
this person on
Yeah.
Twitter in Ireland, she had this thing कि चलो अब casual Friday का तो कोई फायदा है नहीं because we're casual all the time. So she's like, let's do fucking fancy Fridays where Friday go everyone just at home but you're fucking full तैयार.
Oh.
Yeah, that seemed like a fun thing to do, which I would never do because I hate getting tayar. But same thing if you like getting tayar. Acha ji, moving on to our next question. I hope person who sent this, some queries of yours have been answered. It's going to be difficult, but hashtag we're all in this together. Here are a few questions for Sharmeen. Naam leke. Will this feeling of future related anxiety ever go away? If not, what are a few ways to manage it? Abhi, we've talked about some stuff. Um, what are some steps you can and should take to lead a mentally healthy life in this new changed world? And then the third question is how to undistract the distracted brain while there's work piling up and you are unable to concentrate. So this is a person, bit of background, don't want it to color your answer, but bit of background, this person is like a super workaholic and worked several hours a day, lots of meetings, blah blah blah. Life was work. And I think it might still be because this person worked in a place where working from home is quite possible. So yeah, but that's relevant to this person, but other people might also have these questions too. जी बताएं. Is there anything for these three questions? I don't think we talked about people trying to undistract themselves. But is there anything for the other two questions that you might think of in addition to what we've discussed?
Okay, I think we have discussed quite a bit of stuff. So,
Yeah, yeah,
just to summarize, undistract wala is kind of popping out because I think that's the one thing that I didn't
Yeah.
specifically address. So, the little things that I said, that even in a small apartment, if you can keep a different chair for different tasks, eat in a different place, work in a different place, work out in a different place, sleep in a different place, that really helps, because when you're in your work chair, you're working, you're not watching Netflix.
Yeah.
When you're in your movie chair, you're watching movies.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that really helps. Try keeping maybe at work time, don't work from your bed, work from your home. Do not, I mean, जब आप ऑफिस में होते हैं तो अगर आप social media को नहीं access कर रहे होते, don't access social media in your work hours. Take a
yeah.
break for an hour once every 2 hours. WhatsApp is going crazy these days. Like that's, and I'm sure because I'm not very active on Twitter, I'm sure Twitter is as well. So try to stay away from these things and use them as a reward system every half an hour to an hour. Actually, I would say minimum 1 hour break from social media, and then maybe a 5 minute on time, and then a 1 hour break
Mm.
from social media where you're working. So that way, it becomes a motivator instead of a distractor.
Um. Okay. What about the? I'm looking. Sorry, I'm distracted. WhatsApp reminded me of this thing. Where some people I know on WhatsApp, they recently launched this helpline thing. So I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah.
It might be ulta, but basically there's a WhatsApp helpline. I think this is a central. They say this is a central source of accurate and up to date information for coronavirus for everyone in Pakistan. This is specifically for Pakistan. WhatsApp. The number, I'll put it on screen. I'll put this image also. But this is for data. Just WhatsApp zikr reminded me of this.
There's mental health. What do you call them? Hotlines,
Okay.
telemental health lines that have also been launched by 2 or 3 different organizations.
Okay.
Excuse me. Some are specifically for doctors, but there are others for just people who are panicking and who want to speak. And these are, like, I know that this is happening in Pakistan, but I know different countries are doing their own initiatives. New York में एक ऐसी helpline शुरू हुई है, and I'm sure बाकी दुनिया में भी हो रही है. Like these are the ones I've heard about. तो एक है जो Monday को launch हो रही है पाकिस्तान में,
Hmm.
और 2 हो चुकी हैं as far as I know.
How about you
And
send me imagery or whatever details for this, and I'll put them up in the video.
okay.
Ah. Yeah, so by if at this point in the video you will have seen the images because I'll have added them in post. Jadu. And you mentioned mental health for doctors. A lot of people who are on Twitter and a lot of the girls especially, they are medical students, and that is a thing that's being discussed and seen now, especially after चलो China में तो इतनी news आती नहीं बाहर, but after the horrific halat in Italy and Spain and now in the US, because America ki news is always dunya ki news. So people are really seeing like the mad frontline jung wali situation that doctors are going through. So yeah, I think it's really important to sort of, if you are a medical health professional involved in this, you should know this about yourself. And if you know people who are medical health professionals involved in this, you should, sort of look out for yourself or each other, however applicable, because this will be taking a toll on them also, right?
There's a very big correlation between mental and physical health. And when we're stressed out, we are more, um, I don't know, susceptible
Hmm.
to खांसी जुकाम. मिसाल के तौर पे एग्जाम्स के बाद एट द टाइम बचपन में जब पेट ज़्यादा ख़राब होता था या जुकाम ज़्यादा लगता था. So keeping that in mind, keeping ourselves happy or trying to be as close to being at peace with ourselves is very important, because it's not just for you, it's for your health and for your immunity. And I know it becomes a little bit of a contradiction because corona is causing stress and staying at home is causing stress. So it's about finding that middle ground.
Yeah.
So which
Yeah.
I have oranges worked out.
And a good thing always is to recognize that this is possible and it might be happening to you. So recognizing it is obviously the first step in trying to fix it. ठीक है. I think we're good in terms of questions. Rizwan, you had a question which I think through all of this would have been answered. Your question was general, how to get through this. Though I think that's fine. Is there anything either of you want to mention before we wrap?
There's one.
I'm good. और अंदर से आंसू.
It's not, you look really nice today. You should wear clothes like this more often.
See, I told you.
Oh,
Instead of
thank
spending your
you.
day in a banyan.
Yeah. ये चलो पॉडकास्ट पे तो आते ही हो ना, तो उस पे तैयार हो गए. कलरफुल शर्ट्स, लाउड चीखती हुई
अगले
शर्ट्स.
अगले अगले पे मैं सूट पहन के आ रहा हूँ, लाइक
Done.
फुल तैयार.
ठीक है.
वैसे एक चीज मैंने करनी शुरू की है कि मैं ऊपर से तैयार हो जाती हूँ, नीचे मैंने पजामे पहने होते हैं क्योंकि मेरे
Yeah.
क्लाइंट से मुझे यहाँ तक
मैंने भी वही किया हुआ है.
Remark, you wear shorts everywhere. You wear shorts to a problematic degree. मतलब पुलिस बुलाने की देर थी, ऐसे ऐसे इंसिडेंट्स हो चुके हैं.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're good. Then there are no more new questions to discuss. Sharmeen, you will have sent us, by the time this goes out, you will have sent us any relevant screenshots and tasveerein, and we'll have put them up. Is there, do you want people to speak to you directly or get in touch directly? Or would you rather? No?
Sure.
Oh, you said sure. Acha, वो आवाज करके तो like, oh, straight mana. No.
Don't call us, we'll call you.
Yeah. I think we had your email address in the long ago wali episode also. But chalo theek hai, we'll put your contact details then in the description of the video when this goes out. But yeah, I think that's it. It's week. I think it's getting close to 4 weeks now for me. I'm doing
Yeah.
fine. But that's because I like to be home. So I don't miss going to work and I don't miss outdoorsy stuff. What I do miss is going to my shisha place, which was my. वहाँ भी बस में जाके बैठता ही था, but it was like an outdoor thing. So hopefully कुछ हालात बेहतर हो जाएंगे sooner rather than much later. And yeah, anything else you guys want to say before we leave?
Sharmeen, we love you.
Love you too, and love Plosha, and love Isma, love everyone.
So guys, could you do the heart things again? I'll just make that this the thumbnail for this.
I was doing these hearts.
Asian hearts.
Wait, let me try. Yeah, of course, because it's Asian time.
Yeah.
Come on, like we spent 5 minutes discussing discrimination. Like एक को joke side पे डाल.
Nay, I was about to laugh on the part.
Yeah. Whisper, she said like
Oh,
5 times.
I didn't realize it. I
Whisper.
apologize. I did not even realize I could be discriminatory.
Nay, khair hai, bahut jald there won't be anyone left to apologize to. It's okay.
This is all gonna be edited out, right?
Yeah, people are like, what are these beeps? ये तो गालियाँ तो नहीं लग रही, क्या कह रही हैं? Okay. Chalo ji, we tried to do something helpful. Hopefully you and you know, Sharmeen helps people in real life. So thank you for coming, Sharmeen. Yeah. I'm at the Mahad Upper, that's just one Pelwan, Sarkhel 7 Khan, Rip, always in our hearts. We're fine. Sharmeen, and TPR part of that group account. Thank you for watching. I'm going to stop recording now. Bye, guys.